1947, Nuremberg trials. An SS officer was charged not with war crimes, but with treason against the state. His crime, providing intelligence to the Americans in 1944. His defense, "I didn't commit treason. I simply returned to humanity." The prosecutor asked, "When did you return?" His answer was shocking. "When a Jewish doctor saved me when he could have killed me. That's when I realized we were the monsters, not them." Silence fell over the courtroom, because this man had been one of the most fanatical Nazis just 48 hours earlier. Nuremberg, March 14th, 1947. Courtroom 600, a small section reserved for secondary trials. The men being judged here weren't the major war criminals. These were second-tier Nazis, commanders, bureaucrats, and collaborators. But the man sitting in the defendant's chair was different from the others. SS-Hauptsturmführer Werner Keller, 32 years old, medium height, shaved head, face carved with hard lines. He had served in the SS since 1938, stationed in occupation units in France, transferred to Waffen-SS in 1943, and was wounded and captured in Normandy in August 1944. His file made him second-tier, no direct massacres, but regime supporter was guilty enough. But Keller's case was different, because he was being tried for treason against the state, treason against Nazi Germany. And this treason had occurred while he was in a prisoner of war camp. The American judge, Colonel Thomas Harrington, opened the file. "Mr. Keller," he said, his tone neutral but sharp, "you were accused of providing military intelligence to the enemy during August and September 1944, while held in an American POW camp. Is this correct?" Keller didn't respond. He just nodded. The prosecutor, Captain Harold Greenberg, an American officer with the rank of major, stood up. The defendant didn't just provide intelligence. He also declared that he was renouncing Nazi ideology, requesting political asylum in the United States, and rejecting his SS oath. This is not merely treason. This is ideological transformation. The judge turned to Keller. "Mr. Keller, is this true? Did you reject your SS oath?" Keller spoke for the first time. His voice was low but clear. "Yes." "Why?" Keller clasped his hands in his lap. His eyes lowered, but his voice remained steady. "Because that oath was based on a lie, and a Jewish doctor showed me that lie." Silence fell over the courtroom. But what did this mean? And how had Werner Keller become one of the most fanatical Nazis? Werner Keller was born in Munich in 1912. His father was a furniture craftsman, his mother a seamstress. His family was ordinary working class, apolitical. In 1923, at age 11, he witnessed Hitler's beer hall putsch in Munich. He was just a child then and didn't understand its meaning. But in 1933, when Hitler came to power, Keller was 21 years old and unemployed. The Nazi Party gave Keller something: purpose, identity, and most importantly, an enemy. Jews, communists, the others. They were to blame, not Keller, and this message was appealing. In 1938, Keller joined the SS, elite, ideologically pure representatives of the Aryan race. Keller passed the physical tests, 1.78 meters tall, athletic build, certified pure German ancestry 4 generations back, and most importantly, filled with fanatical belief. SS training transformed Keller. For 6 months, he woke at 5 a.m. and trained until 10 p.m., both physically and ideologically. Rassentheorie, race theory lessons, propaganda films about Jewish degeneracy, and the doctrine that mercy is weakness. Keller internalized it all. In 1940, during the French occupation, Keller was in Paris. His duty: track French resistance fighters and register Jewish families. There were no mass killings yet, just registration. But Keller performed his duty with fanaticism. Once, he found a Jewish woman and child hiding in a French family's home. The woman fell to her knees and begged. Keller handed the woman over to the Gestapo. The child was 6 years old. Years later, when Keller recalled this memory, he would say, "I didn't see them as human then. I only saw them as a problem. And I was solving that problem." 1943 Waffen-SS. Keller was sent to the war's most violent front, the Eastern Front. The Waffen-SS was different from the Wehrmacht, more fanatical, more violent, and less bound by rules. Keller was assigned to the 12th SS Panzer Division, Hitlerjugend, young, ideologically pure, and extremely lethal. On the Eastern Front, Keller saw real war for the first time. After the Stalingrad collapse, the Wehrmacht was retreating. Every day, hundreds of soldiers died, freezing, starvation, Soviet artillery. But worst of all was the collapse of morale. Soldiers no longer believed in final victory. They were just trying to survive. Keller began to doubt for the first time, but he suppressed the doubt because doubt was treason, and treason meant death. In June 1944, Keller's unit was transferred to Normandy. 1 week after D-Day, their mission stopped the American advance, but they couldn't, because American superiority was overwhelming. August 16, 1944, near St. Lo, Keller's unit was ambushed by an American tank column. Sherman tanks tore through the German defense. Keller was wounded by a grenade explosion in his right leg. Shrapnel shattered his femur. He tried to stop the bleeding, but arteries were severed. His consciousness faded in and out. The last thing he saw was an American soldier leaning over him. The soldier saw Keller's SS uniform, the skull and crossbones, the Totenkopf badge. The soldier's face hardened, but then he pulled a tourniquet from his backpack and wrapped it around Keller's leg. "You're a lucky bastard," the soldier said. "We've got a hospital nearby." Keller didn't understand English, but the tourniquet saved his life. 20 minutes later, he was loaded into an American ambulance, and so began Werner Keller's 48-hour transformation. 115th American Field Hospital, France. August 16, 1944, 18:30 hours. Keller was placed on a stretcher inside the tent. Around him were over 30 wounded, American soldiers, German prisoners, even a few French civilians. Everyone was mixed together, the smell of blood and disinfectant filling the air. A nurse leaned over Keller. Keller looked at the woman's face. Young, maybe 25, brown hair. But most surprising was her expression. Neutral. No hatred, no disgust, just professionalism. "German?" the nurse asked. Keller nodded. The nurse examined Keller's leg. The tourniquet was well applied, but the wound was serious. "Doctor's coming," she said. Then she gave him a bottle of water and a morphine injection. The morphine eased the pain, but it clouded Keller's mind. He began watching his surroundings. On the stretcher next to him was an American soldier, shot in the chest, struggling to breathe. On the other side, a German soldier, Luftwaffe uniform, his arm severed, crying. And 2 stretchers away, a French child, maybe 10 years old, leg bandaged, his mother sitting beside him. Keller noticed something that confused him. There was no distinction. American, German, French, all in the same tent, receiving the same care. This was completely contrary to what SS doctrine taught. Enemies should be treated with lower priority. Jews shouldn't be treated at all. But here everyone was equal. At 2000, a doctor arrived. When Keller saw him, his heart stopped. The doctor was black. Captain Marcus Fleming was one of the 115th Field Hospital's most experienced surgeons. Fleming was born in Alabama in 1910, in a state at the height of Jim Crow laws, in an era when racial segregation was law. His father worked in a field. His mother cleaned other people's homes. But Fleming was intelligent and very determined. In 1928, he entered Howard University on scholarship, a historically black university in Washington, D.C. He studied medicine. He graduated in 1934, but no white hospitals would hire him. Not because of his color, but because he wasn't good enough, they said, but Fleming knew they were lying. In 1941, after the Pearl Harbor attack, Fleming joined the Army. The army needed surgeons. Color was secondary. Fleming served in field hospitals, and very quickly, he became one of the best surgeons. Because on the battlefield, no one cared about the surgeon's color. Only the ability to save lives mattered. Fleming approached Keller's stretcher. He examined the wound. Femur fracture, major arterial damage, shrapnel fragments. Surgery was needed immediately. "This one's SS," the nurse said quietly. She showed Fleming the SS badge. Fleming looked at the badge, then at Keller's face. Keller stared at Fleming with fear and confusion. It was impossible to know what Fleming was thinking. But then Fleming said, "Doesn't matter. He's a patient. Prep him for surgery." The surgery lasted 3 hours. Fleming removed the shrapnel fragments, repaired the artery, stabilized the bone. Keller was under anesthesia, remembering nothing. But when the surgery was complete, his leg was saved. The next morning, when Keller woke, the first thing he saw was Fleming. The doctor was sitting at the edge of Keller's bed, writing something in a notepad. Keller looked carefully at the doctor's face. Black skin, short hair, eyes showing fatigue, but professionalism. A conflict began in Keller's mind. For 12 years, he had been taught blacks were Untermenschen, subhuman, intellectually deficient, cultureless, inhuman. But this man had saved Keller's life. He had performed a medical miracle. How was this possible? Fleming noticed Keller was awake. "How are you feeling?" he asked. Keller didn't understand English. Fleming called for an interpreter, a German-American soldier working at the POW camp. The interpreter arrived and translated Fleming's question. "How are you feeling?" Keller hesitated to answer. Then, "Pain." Fleming nodded. "Normal. Your leg was severely damaged, but it will heal. You'll be able to walk in a few weeks." Keller looked at Fleming, then asked, Are you a doctor?" The interpreter translated the question. Fleming smiled slightly. "Yes, I'm a surgeon." Keller hesitated to ask his question, but then it came out. "But you're..." Fleming understood what Keller meant. "Black? Yes?" He paused. "Does that seem strange to you?" Keller didn't answer, but the expression on his face said everything. Fleming leaned back in his chair. "You know, in your country I'm considered subhuman. In your books I am an inferior race. But here in America I'm a doctor, and I saved you because that's my job. My Hippocratic oath commands me to save your life, not judge your race." The interpreter translated the sentences. Keller listened to every word, and for the first time, a crack formed in his mind. The next day, Keller experienced another shock. In the tent, another doctor came to a wounded American soldier's bedside. Keller watched from a distance. The doctor was elderly, maybe in his 50s, gray hair, glasses. Keller noticed something on the doctor's arm, a Star of David necklace. Jewish. Keller's heart raced. That man was a Jewish surgeon, and in the American army he was treating a German soldier. This contradicted Keller's entire worldview. That afternoon, a nurse brought Keller food. The meal: canned meat, bread, vegetables, and a glass of milk. Keller was surprised. This was better than German rations. Prisoners weren't supposed to be fed this well. That's what he'd been taught. But here, an SS officer was eating almost the same meal as American soldiers. Toward evening, Fleming returned. He checked the wound, changed the dressing. Keller watched silently. Then he gathered his courage and asked, "Why did you save me?" Fleming answered while washing his hands, "Because I'm a doctor." "But I'm SS." Fleming turned to Keller, and there was no expression on his face. No hatred, no pity, just fatigue. "I know. I saw your badge, your people. We did to them." Fleming interrupted. "I know what you did, but I didn't become a doctor to take revenge. I became one to save lives, and you, right now, are a patient, so I saved you. Tomorrow, if another SS officer comes, I'll save him too, because that's my job." Keller couldn't respond, because this was something he couldn't comprehend. On the third day, Keller made a decision. In the tent next to him on a stretcher was a German prisoner, young, maybe 19, a Wehrmacht soldier. The boy had received a letter from home. His family lived in Cologne. The city had been bombed. His mother was dead. The boy was crying quietly. Keller spoke to the boy. "I'm sorry." The boy wiped his tears. "Why are we fighting?" he asked. "Why do we keep going? We've lost. Everyone knows it, but no one stops." Keller didn't answer because he didn't know the answer. That night, Keller couldn't sleep. Questions spun in his mind. If a black doctor can save me, then is the inferior race theory wrong? If a Jewish surgeon treats German soldiers, then is the enemy definition we were taught wrong? If Americans treat prisoners better than their own soldiers, then who is truly civilized? On the morning of the fourth day, Fleming came for a final check. "Your leg is healing," he said. "In a few weeks you'll be able to walk. Then you'll be transferred to a POW camp." Keller looked at Fleming, then quietly asked, "Did you lose family in this war?" Fleming paused. Then, "No, my family's in Alabama, but my brother died in the Pacific. Japanese shell. I'm sorry." Fleming nodded. "I'm sorry for what your country did too. But that didn't stop me from treating you, because you as an individual might not be responsible for those crimes. Maybe you were just a soldier. Maybe you were just following orders." He paused. "Or maybe you're guilty. I don't know, but that's not my job. My job is to keep you alive. Judgment is someone else's job." When Keller heard those sentences, 12 years of propaganda collapsed. On the fifth day, Keller made a request to an American officer. "I want to talk." The officer was intelligence officer Captain Robert Warren. Warren was responsible for prisoner interrogations. He had met with Keller several times, asking standard questions. Unit number, commander name, position location. Keller had only given his name, rank, and serial number in accordance with the Geneva Convention. But this time was different. Keller told Warren, "I'll give you information, but in exchange for something." Warren raised his eyebrows. "What do you want?" "Political asylum in the United States and nullification of my SS oath." Warren was shocked. "You're rejecting your SS oath?" "Yes." "Why?" Keller took a deep breath. "Because a Jewish doctor and a black surgeon showed me 12 years of lies in 48 hours, and I can no longer serve that lie." Warren took notes. Then, "What information will you provide?" Keller began talking, and for the next 3 hours, he revealed the last known positions of the 12th SS Panzer Division, the command structure of SS units in Normandy, morale status of Waffen-SS. Most soldiers now know they're losing the war secret opposition within the SS. Some officers want to overthrow Hitler, the structure of the concentration camp system. Keller hadn't participated directly, but had heard Warren recorded every word. The information was tactically valuable, but what was truly valuable was Keller's psychological collapse, because it showed that other SS soldiers could collapse too. September to December 1944, Keller was labeled a collaborator in the POW camp. When other German prisoners in the camp learned about Keller, they declared him a traitor. One night, 2 former Wehrmacht soldiers attacked Keller. "Traitor to the fatherland," they shouted. American guards intervened. The attackers were punished, but Keller was now isolated. The camp's psychiatric officer, Major Helen Strauss, held weekly meetings with Keller. Strauss documented Keller's transformation. This was a unique case study for military psychology. From Strauss's report, Keller displays classic ideological collapse symptoms. However, this is not slow erosion but sudden fracture. Triggering factor: concrete refutation of racial superiority theory. When an inferior race member demonstrated life-saving capability to him, Keller's entire belief system collapsed. This is the most extreme example of cognitive dissonance. Keller told Strauss, "For 12 years they told me Jews were parasites, blacks were animals, Slavs were slaves. but a black doctor saved me. A Jewish surgeon treated Wehrmacht soldiers, and Americans gave us better food than their own soldiers. It was all lies, and I destroyed people for those lies." Strauss asked, "Are you remorseful?" Keller remained silent for a long time. Then, "Does remorse change the past?" "No, but at least I won't spread those lies anymore." 1945, the war ended. Keller would not be released because he was SS, but the US didn't send Keller to the Nuremberg trials because Keller's crimes weren't at the major war crime level. No direct massacres, just regime support. Instead, Keller was placed in a denazification program. From 1946 to 1947, Keller was held in a camp, but not tortured. Instead, he was educated. Democracy lessons, human rights seminars, and psychological rehabilitation. Keller was one of the program's most cooperative participants. In March 1947, Keller was tried for treason against the state. The charge was filed by the Nazi German government. Yes, the war was over, but some lawyers and bureaucrats still maintained Nazi loyalty. They wanted Keller punished as an example. The trial lasted 3 days. Witnesses were called. Captain Fleming, Captain Warren, Major Strauss, all testified about Keller's transformation. Fleming's testimony was the most powerful. "I saw Werner Keller as a human being. Yes, he was an SS officer. Yes, he believed in Nazi ideology, but he was human, and humans can change. I treated him because I'm a doctor, but he changed because he chose to. And that's more meaningful than any punishment a court could give." The court found Keller guilty of treason against the state, but the sentence was symbolic. 2 years imprisonment, with time already served counted. Keller was released, but barred from returning to Germany. He was stateless. 1948, Keller immigrated to America. His new name, William Keller, because Werner evoked his Nazi past. Keller settled in Chicago, worked in a factory. He married. His wife was a German-American woman whose family had escaped Nazi Germany. They had 2 children. Keller told no one about his past. He introduced himself as a war veteran, but gave no details, because even in America, an SS past was stigmatized. In 1963, Keller's son found an old photograph in his father's drawer. In the photo was an SS uniform. The son asked, "Dad, is this you?" Keller didn't answer for a long time. Then, "Yes, a long time ago I was a very different person, and I did very bad things, but then someone showed me the truth, and I changed." "Who showed you?" "A doctor, Dr. Fleming. He was black, and he saved me." The son tried to understand. But didn't you hate?" Keller looked into his son's eyes. "Yes, and that's my greatest shame. But Dr. Fleming taught me this. Humanity isn't measured by race. It's measured by compassion." 1978, Dr. Marcus Fleming died. He was 68 years old. Fleming had retired, returned to Alabama, and opened a community health clinic there. Free treatment for poor neighborhoods. His funeral was attended by hundreds. Keller flew from Chicago to Alabama. At the funeral, he sat in the back row. No one recognized him. During the ceremony, Fleming's son gave a speech. "My father saved thousands of lives throughout his lifetime, but what makes me most proud is that he saved even his enemies. During World War II, he treated an SS officer. That man had pledged to an ideology that wanted to kill my father, but my father saved him, because my father believed not in the power of hatred, but in the power of compassion." Keller wept silently. After the ceremony, Keller approached Fleming's son. "Your father," he said, "saved my life, but not just physically. He saved my soul too." Fleming's son looked at Keller. "You're that SS officer?" Keller nodded. Fleming's son hesitated for a moment, then extended his hand. "My father said you changed, and he said change is worth forgiveness." The 2 men shook hands. 1989, the Berlin Wall fell. Keller was 77 years old. Keller watched the fall of the wall on television. He was in tears. because that wall was the last symbol of the ideology Keller had lived. And now, that ideology had completely collapsed. That night, Keller wrote in his diary, "In 1944, in 48 hours, 12 years of lies collapsed. Today, 45 years later, the last remnant of those lies has also fallen. Perhaps now the world has learned, hatred destroys people, but compassion saves them." 1995, Keller died. He was 83 years old. His funeral was small, his family, a few friends. On his gravestone, William Keller, loving father, faithful husband, 1912 to 1995. No one knew his SS past. No one knew his 48-hour transformation. No one knew what Dr. Fleming had taught him. But in the archives, there was a document. Records from the 115th Field Hospital contained Keller's file, and in that file was a note from Dr. Fleming. Patient, Werner Keller, SS-Hauptsturmführer. Procedure, femoral artery repair. Result, successful. Note, this patient showed ideological transformation. Perhaps medicine's greatest achievement is not just saving life, but restoring humanity. 2018, a historian discovered Keller's story. Dr. Sarah Mendelsohn was a Holocaust researcher. While examining Nuremberg trial records, she found Keller's file. She was shocked because this resembled no known case, an SS officer, ideological transformation, and rehabilitation. Mendelsohn published an article, "The 48-Hour Transformation: How One Doctor Defeated Nazi Ideology with Mercy." The article went viral. Media interest exploded. People wanted to learn Keller's story, but there were also criticisms. Some said, he was an SS officer. He shouldn't be forgiven. Others, his transformation was fake just to save himself. Mendelsohn responded, maybe so, but Dr. Fleming saved him anyway, because compassion doesn't expect reciprocity, and that's the most powerful weapon against an ideology of hatred. And today, the story still asks questions. Should Werner Keller have been forgiven? Did Dr. Fleming do the right thing? Is ideological transformation real, or is it a survival tactic? The answers aren't simple, but one truth exists. In 1944, in a tent, a black doctor saved a Nazi, and that Nazi changed. Maybe sincerely, maybe not. But ultimately, that man lived his remaining 51 years for love, not hate. And perhaps that's enough. Because history isn't the story of perfect people. It's the story of broken people trying to rebuild. Werner Keller was broken. Dr. Fleming repaired him, not just physically, but spiritually. And that is medicine's greatest miracle.